So first of all, yeah, some general points about mindful movement. So just to remind you that the intentions behind mindful movement are, first of all, training attention. Secondly, cultivating helpful attitudes towards oneself and one's experience. Thirdly, developing body awareness. So there we've got the three main ones. Developing body awareness as a ground or steadiness or resilience. So the steadiness of being present. And finally, to facilitate felt experiential insights into our patterns, tendencies in life. So experience through the movement, we experience how we are in life, in relationships, in communication, in work. So these are the main intentions, the main learning outcomes for mindful movement. And in the new book that's coming out in May, the Essential Resources for Teaching Mindfulness Based Courses, these are all outlined, these basic intentions. So this workshop, I want to try and demonstrate that all four of those intentions can be very, very successfully accomplished via Chinese yoga rather than Indian yoga. So Chinese yoga, normally called Qigong, is another way of practicing. Now, having said this, from the outset, I want to say that the MBSR curriculum stipulates Indian or Hatha yoga for the mindful movement. So at the moment, there's not a choice around that. And this is something we can talk about later. But I want to demonstrate that even though it's not stipulated, we can't use Qigong, it does still accomplish the same learning outcomes. So that's the purpose of this workshop, to demonstrate especially the fourth point, this facilitating felt insights into patterns in daily life. So it's often framed around the language of edges, harder and softer edges in practice. So yeah, the word yoga, as you know, I mean, please excuse me, some of you are yoga teachers, some of you are Qigong teachers. Please excuse me if I'm saying the obvious, but I just wanted to cover all the bases. So yoga, the word yoga means to join or unify, to link. Yoga is in the ancient Indian language. It's very similar to the European word yoke, as you have a yoke that pulls the oxen pulls the plough. So to join, to unify. And what are we unifying in yoga? We're unifying mind, body, and in some senses spirit. So mind and body unified. Mind, breath, and body brought together. And the idea is that when you bring those elements together, you create health and well-being and insight. So, just to remind you that we can bring mind and body and breath together in many different ways. I think it's important in mindful movement to be based in a particular discipline. So I was an Iyengar yoga teacher for many years, trained as an Iyengar yoga teacher. And I've trained in Qigong since I was 19 years old. I mean, several teachers. So I've done Qigong most days of my life. I do it in the morning in the garden if it's not too cold, as a half-hour practice before my sitting practices. So yeah, Qigong I've been doing for over 40 years. And yoga for many years too. So I have experience of both, experience of teaching both, and I believe both have particular benefits, and both have more specific benefits. So this workshop's really looking at Qigong or Chinese yoga as a means to accomplish the learning outcomes that you find linked to mindful movement in the 8-week course or the Mindfulness Based program. What else to say? Yeah. I want to just re-emphasize that if your curriculum that you're teaching is specifically MBSR, then there's a requirement to teach a yoga-based practice, that is an Indian yoga-based practice. But many people don't have that limitation. They're teaching in a context where it could be MBCT, could be MBCT for life, or MBCT for general population, or some form of 8-week mindfulness course. And if you are teaching MBSR strictly to the curriculum, Qigong can be a fantastic alternative in week 4 or in the all day of practice. And if you're starting to teach retreats, Qigong is a very, very helpful companion to sitting practice, because it focuses so clearly on the integration of breath and body. So it's a very helpful companion to sitting practice. So maybe I'll say no more and let us experience a class and see what you make of this. See what you make of it. If you're new to Qigong, that's great. If you're a Qigong teacher, you might find some things missed out. So I'm stripping out from this class most of the Chinese terminology, some of the ideas, and making it a very simple approach. So it's focusing on mindful movement rather than Qigong. So it's Qigong based mindful movement. Okay, so whether you're new or old in experiential terms, we'll just enter into this practice period and see how you get on. So I am sitting on a stool. I'm going to show you my stool. This is my kitchen stool. And if I'm working with anyone with knee problems, we would do the whole practice from the stool like this. I mean, if you've got a chair, if you don't have a stool, you can put 3 yoga blocks on the seat of the chair. So you're kind of able to practice without any strain on the legs. Having said that, it's by far the best way to practice is from standing. So if you're willing and able to stand in a clear space, let's do that now. So let's move away from the screen perhaps and come to stand in a clear space.